Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious. Julie is happy when Moors are happy. Vixens wink fake lashes trying to trap me. 40 days and nights battling the lower demons. This is not their land, hybrids can't be freemen. If this is not their land, who's the immigrant thinking they're sovereign? Imagination figment, recessive is their status, lacking pigment. Game for the Thanksgiving, but no commitment to indigenous Moors they conquered with Bibles. Signs in the vitals and signs in the cycles, only to strangle, embracing my rivals. Free national standards, not playing with the tribals. Each Moor is their own Christ, not disciples. Whether hands or thoughts, no worshiping idols. Always carry my Moorish Koran, no recitals. Everyone will not process ancients' arrivals. Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious.
Innate mystic ability to show and prove a lesson, coupled with the agility to move you with the message, presence of divine mind to navigate you with a reference, urgent with a purpose, perfect. Emergent urban legends, real more is not a question or a choice or a preference. You are who you are, you should have the same obsession. Broke the same jewels to a dude, the corner, Jane and Western. What you reppin', all that effort, that direction, keep you separate in a world of blind sheep. I was born to be a shepherd, mind like an elephant. Got the paws of a leopard, means I'm wise and I'm strong. Crank you up like I'm a record, take you to the body shot, correct your lines to true vector manifestations. Matter, energy, and mind, spirit men unsung. Trey Young dropping dimes until you tighten up, you catching splinters from the pine. Clean the clouds out your thoughts, that's what keep you in the bind.
Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious.
Huh? What did you say, mofo? I never asked for this. I was tasked with it. Never wanted to play the role, but I got casted quick. Burdens take a toll. Still, I'm gonna master it. This vessel feeling old. Cause I've been traveling a bit. So much seas to sow. Not sure I could handle it. Model do it on my own. Forgot about the manuscript. When I was out canvassing in Valley Park, I was taxing youths for cafeteria food when mom made sandwiches. Me and you couldn't relate. Two different languages, though came from a vast estate raised by savages. Destruction along the way, still paying for damages. Dysfunctional, they used to say, he just average. Why every day you late? All these absences. Potential to be so great. All these challenges. I was just thinking about this weight, letting off packages. Walked the back routes. Took the secret passages. Wanted to get tattoos, but thought vow of the Nazareth. Kept getting lassoed, wrapped in it like Lazarus. Where the cook of fast food had to fuel them bad habits. Golden rules, tricks for kids, silly rabbit. I was infatuated, stuck to streets like a magnet. You could say I graduated from both worlds, I had to have it. I was calculating if I should shoot or stab it. Along the way, I lost my heart. She grabbed it. Lost it again, took it with her, still has it. If I tell you about my day, you probably say it's too graphic. Visions as a youth, I was always telepathic. Told lies but more truth. Wasn't one for dramatics. Lied to protect the innocent, to avoid all the static. If it's a question of my discipline, the story gets more drastic. Same cycle, not this again. Seems misery's automatic. Learned everything I touch, turned to gold like magic, but too long in my clutch. Story gets more tragic. Still caught the subliminals and them being sarcastic. Type of individual that never really panic. Tried to stay original, want to keep things classic. Lost battles, not the war, but lately get my ass kicked. But with this perfect imperfection, they say all I need is practice.
Yup. Life lessons, mic sessions, it's all relevant and relative for the blessings. We used to walk with Smith and Wessons, so I'm guessing this time I let you put the blame on me. But if I let you fool me twice, then it's shame on me. Ain't no stressing, back to the essence. I love the sun rays, so let it rain on me. From a little young G, still in the same army. And ain't no tight jeans dressing. Just in case we have to talk that weapon. In the midst of danger, we move calmly. Sutataya, Kundalini fire, you couldn't harm me. And when my boy got tested, never cried to mommy. Now I'm living rat infested, used to live by palm trees. All this money, time invested, never dawned on me that I was in the wrong profession, yo, the price was costly. And what it cost me, 10 lifetimes of stress, trying to get these demons off me. Frontal leaf on my chest, have me constantly cough G. That's the only release I get, these sketches just taught me. Pretend they want me, but really trying to suck my life source like a piece of toffee. Gretzky, Messier, curry and coffee. I took a night course in guilty crime posse. Slap shot is what they both taught me. Grand Fear first more I seen play hockey. Put that pedal to the floor, nothing could stop me. Grew up in the era where no carbon copies existed. You weren't there, sorry you missed it. Coolest in the city, never acted cocky. We was fresh to death, never looking sloppy. Some have step lost the way, but not me. No apologies if you got offended. Over the years, all we did was defend it. Lost a few peers, what the universe intended. Watch your friends that you keep, beauty always warn me.
This is all 9 lives, synchronized in perfect step, time after time, averting certain death before you leave. Must relieve karmic debt, which beget this war within us. RC Tech best, dust off records, our forebearers left. Put the needle to the groove, return to their mindset. Download begins, rewind cassette. Time is death, so then kill your clocks. This the will of Allah, filling you all to the rim and then some till it spills and it falls over all facets of the masses. Transactions composed in maxims, revising your cannons. Drove past heaven, it was littered with abandoned mansions where adverse possessed like 5 or 6. Gave them back the addresses. I got family moving in. Forget the madness, let the reversion begin.
True Ali the mastermind, other leaders asinine. Never dropping facts, use emotions to pass the time. Never make it on my shrine, Kundalini up the spine. Halo glow to aftershoine, make you see the sign of times. Beeline to bloodline, Aquarian age flood mines. Rhyme like a plumb line. Sometimes it's bud time, rock mid-range deadly, all around the foul line. Playback on front line, Moorish is my guideline. Step and cause a fault line, throw your service offline. Watch them get outshine, cross me like a state line, get cut like a break line. FU and your concubine, strangle with a fishing line. When I help is genuine, always from the heart, all chakras are intertwined. Self you must redefine, more from the civil line, not the clandestine. Stake a vamp at chest line, sun stay stationary, shadow left behind. Say you don't want to, not that you have no sign. See good in everything and how you must train the mind. Give out some love and find peace sublime. Water and the key lime keeps the body alkaline. Law should remain divine, not too much maritime. Get all 13 journals of the Moorish paradigm. Israelites from Saraline, my path is the narrow line. Thought you had the upper hand, I saw it like a tarot line.
I'm painting with the big pen, game 6. Unity about as crucial as game 6 of the finals. I'm glowing like I won the title, but Ellen Beta noble titles. Don't worship humans, that's a false idol. Heavenly vibes coming from my recital. Middle fingers to connivers and instigators. The truth to revive it like the liberators. So this a pump to the chest. Utilize what's useful and throw away the rest. My vegan ways have put the beef to rest. My calling got directed like receptionist. So think mother every time you see a crest. The Moors is here to put that bullshit to rest. So think mother every time you see a crest. The Moors is here to bring that bullshit to rest.
When I step in the center, they can tell I'm a winner, live my life right. Thank God, I'm not a sinner, live my life like I'm passing through time. Disastrous crimes, you killing up my people, my mask and your back is why. You feeling the energy rise, because we open the eyes. We see the open skies and all them cop picking lies. That's how I battle enemies, I be using my energy. I move like the centipede, in the mirror see enemy. Pay attention to tendencies, trying to mess up the chemistry. We can be one big family. I do it for the nation. How many gon' stand with me? I got the prophet up front and you're mad at me. Can't love a man that look like you, but it's sad to see. I'm just acting like the children watching, and it has to be. Nationality got me feeling like a dad to be. Grass sheep provide the beat, and I just had to bring the heat. Khalifa society, Canaanland Moors, Moorish connection, rise of the Moors.
And being declassified from the human race and then brought down to a lower race that symbolized color. When we talk black, white, mulatto, he did not want us to be classified in these racial categories, but to be elevated back to the human race. Where there was only one race, and that was called human. As he said in his famous speech, the Negro finds himself a slave in his own land. That means that, we have been consistently and constantly fighting, whether it be from Frederick Douglass, his writings, whether it be from W.E.B. Du Bois, his writings, John Henry Clark, on the African writings, Drew Ali speaking about the Moorish history here in the United States of America. These things that were talked about were just reminders of who we were in the past and what our fight has been in this country. We did not want to be called Negro. We did not want to be called a color.
Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren needing new homes to Atlantis direction. North, South, and Central, flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of science. Nationality is alliance, always in defiance of their worship compliance. Active, not passive, estate is massive. Use the compass, draw circles around your passions. Carpenter's tool in the man workshop. Corsica bandana, covered eyes in bird box. Return to ancestors' mind, descendants of ancients. Forget the mundane, knowledge attainments. Guided by the principles, our own laws and customs. If they teach but don't bring up Drew Ali, don't trust them. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
I told a Filipino woman about Drew Ali. We got more into the pedigree. She said she more. I said that meant more to me. Couldn't have this conversation a few years back when I was a few years black. 2,000 years I cried in tears, but I'm back. Still here, thought manifested from a higher tier. I appear, spirit and flesh with divine warnings. Choose life or death.
Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name.
Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren needing new homes to Atlantis direction. North, south, and central, flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of science. Nationality is alliance, always in defiance of their wardship compliance. Active, not passive, estate is massive. Use the compass, draw circles around your passions. Carpenter's tool in the mind workshop. Corsica bandana, covered eyes in bird box. Return to ancestors' mind, descendants of ancients. Forget the mundane, knowledge attainments. Guided by the principles, our own laws and customs. If they teach but don't bring up Drew Ali, don't trust them. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
I told a Filipino woman about Drew Ali. We got more into the pedigree. She said she Moor. I said that meant more to me. Couldn't have this conversation a few years back when I was a few years black. 2,000 years I cried in tears, but I'm back. Still here, thought manifested from a higher tier. I appear, spirit and flesh with divine warnings. Choose life or death. I heard my mother utter to the Negro, black or color, African American, and that's another. Moors, be yourself, no other. You're the last puzzle in place, now move others. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders. The pleasure of the lower, rich in promise, so you can't prevent effects from causes. So a seed planteth, so a seed groweth. Deep in the soil, with love, choose peace, freedom and justice. Born on a Friday, I put that on Venus. Creative faith, Allah, use a genius. You sent your last prophet to uplift me, so I gotta tell everybody. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
This is what it feels like. 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 People running up to me that I don't know. Are you a prince? They ask, tell them I'm from Morocco. Look me up and down with a smile, not a frown. Turn their brain to water, watch the lower self drown. Wanna touch my antennas and steal my energy. Eyes bulge, telling them I'm always King Edward V. When it comes to facts, with Moors they get beggarly. They ask Morocco where? The farthest northwesterly. With every question asked, I respond cleverly. All dependents won't explain expertly. Going in their wallets, pull out pictures with feathers, breaking down the ring, then the mason confesses. He's at 33 degrees, now the convo stretches like yoga into esoteric metaphysic lessons. When my people aren't like me, he impresses. When we take more science to the highways and hedges. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
They tried to get you to think again. That's the prophet. I'm upright, don't need a friend. And you can't stop this. I'ma write with my pen. Violate me and I'ma sentence again.
This is what it feels like. 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 People run running up to me that I don't know. Are you a prince? They ask, tell them I'm from Morocco. Look me up and down with a smile, not a frown. Turn their brain to water, watch the lower self drown. Wanna touch my antennas and steal my energy. Eyes bulge, telling them I'm always King Edward V. When it comes to facts with Moors, they get beggarly. They ask Morocco where? The farthest northwesterly. With every question asked, I respond cleverly. All dependents won't explain expertly. Going in their wallets, pull out pictures with feathers, breaking down the ring, then the mason confesses. He's at 33 degrees, now the convo stretches like yoga into esoteric metaphysic lessons. When my people aren't like me, he impresses. When we take more science to the highways and hedges, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
They tried to get you to think again. That's the prophet. I'm upright, don't need a friend. And you can't stop this. I'ma write with my pen. Violate me and I'ma sentence again. Remain cautious, cause often it's in again. That's in the police out, just the silence men. When they bust through your door, you won't breathe again. Nationality will show you how to live again. It can change the predicament you're living in. You can heal the whole world without medicine. Only truth can make you a better man. Why lie? Cause you got paid to murder men. Then you try to lock them up when they riot in. That's okay, cause for freedom I'm diving in. With no knowledge you come back to die again. Resurrect me not, cause I'd rather be one with Allah.
This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
That's it.
Christ like you're not Christian.
I don't even know if Christ really existed. But guess what I know?
That's obvious.
I know that the black man and woman, the original people on earth. I can show you that. I can pull up a white folks to show you that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Christ ever existed, but I know he's one of the greatest characters in the Bible. He's one of the greatest characters I ever wrote about. So I don't care what color you make him in your head. What I'm saying is if your master can worship that same Christ and imprison you, and the last person he saved on this earth was a prisoner, a self-confessed thief, being crucified by the state next to him. Why ain't black people in mass working in prison? Huh? If you're a Christian, if you're a true Christian, because the church is not where Christ is. Christ is with the lepers. He's with the sick. I read it. My grandma made me read it. From the time I was 5, Bible camp and all that. Then I went to Moor House, where I studied religion and philosophy. And then I was in the mosque for 12 years. And after, I actually took my shahada and I was in the mosque. Then I remember when I left, I told my mom, I can't do this no more. He said, why? I said, because it all leads you back to a white man in a dress.
You told your mom that?
Huh? I told my mom that. I had to go. I loved him. I love what he taught me. I love what I learned, but it all led me back to some lighter figure in a dress. Some old long white goddamn dress. So somebody asked me what I should say. What are you? I said, I'm whatever African was the day before the first Christian or Muslim stepped their foot. That's what I am. Because there's a whole Muslim slave trade down the other coast of Africa we don't talk about. We don't talk about how the folks got light skin and fat skin in North Sudan versus South Sudan. We don't talk about how Arab speakers came across. We proud to be Moors, but still, the religion was pushed on you and forced on you.
Man, we came from nothing. We got to work our ways into becoming something. No, we started off the greatest military generals on the planet Earth, the richest people on the planet Earth. You go back to the Moor civilization, that civilized the Europeans, civilized Caucasians across the planet Earth. Man, we came from nothing. We got to work our ways into becoming something. No, we started off the greatest military generals on the planet Earth, the richest people on the planet Earth. You go back to the Moor civilization, that civilized the Europeans, civilized Caucasians across the planet Earth. Man, we came from nothing. We got to work our ways into becoming something. No, we started off the greatest military generals on the planet Earth, the richest people on the planet Earth. You go back to the Moor civilization, that civilized the Europeans, civilized Caucasians across the planet Earth.
Another way. The Honorable Noble John Lee said it takes finance to uplift the nation. What do he mean? He means that in order to brush your teeth, you need toothpaste. In order to take a boo-boo, you need toilet paper. So we got to start looking at the financial aspect. I think Dr. Claude Anderson said we got to practice group economics. The brother was dead. He was dead on it because he's true. That's true. Another way. The Honorable Noble John Lee said it takes finance to uplift the nation. What do he mean? He means that in order to brush your teeth, you need toothpaste. In order to take a boo-boo, you need toilet paper. So we got to start looking at the financial aspect. I think Dr. Claude Anderson said we got to practice group economics. The brother was dead. He was dead on it because he's true. That's true. Another way. The Honorable Noble John Lee said it takes finance to uplift the nation. And I believe what Elijah Muhammad said, out of all things, history is best recorded to reward all studies. So once we go back into time and we begin to extrapolate their wisdom from our ancient forefathers, as the Honorable Noble Drew Ali like to say, and we study our higher self and our lower self, and we understand that the higher self are the mothers of virtue, the harmony, life, be justice, mercy, love, right, and that the hatred self be hatred, slander, losing, murder, theft, and everything to harm, then we can get ourselves out of the condition. See, the thought was the cause of it all. See, without a foe, a soldier never knows strength. Everything that's happened to us is happening to us for a reason. There is no accident or coincidence. It's happened for brothers like yourself to redeem us. You know, you're a redeemer. You're a great redeemer. You're going to redeem a lot of people through this show. And what you're doing, you're using your wisdom and knowledge and understanding to go back and to regurgitate to your audience. And that's what we have to do. You got to be well read. You got to study to show yourself approved. If you don't study, if you don't know your ancient forefathers, you don't know who the Egyptians was, if you don't know that the original Bible, he said that you read the Bible. The original Bible was written on papyrus papers. But right now, they're in Berlin in a museum called the Berlin Museum. You know what they call them now? The Rhineland papers, because a expeditionist went over there into Egypt. He got the original transcript and he put them in the museum, and he got the name. A lot of those Egyptian statues and stuff that were stolen from our ancient, through the first and second dynasty from Imhotep and all this and all these different eras of time. I can go into it really deep, but I'm just going to be brief because I know we can't. It's too deep to go back.
Say what you got to say.
No, but what I'm saying, those eras, those things are the factors. First of all, study yourself. Prophet Noble Jolly said, if you ask me what to study, I would say yourself. And you would well study them. He said, you ask me what to study enough, he said, I would say yourself. You know what I mean? And he says self because you got two selves. You got a higher self and a lower self. Man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. See, if the truth went for a swim, the truth don't change or pass away. And it was swimming and it saw a great river. It jumped in the river and falsehood came up on the scene. And falsehood put on truth clothes and fled the scene. When truth get out the water, Holy Ghost said, what you gonna do now, truth? He said, I'm just gonna be the naked truth. See, the truth don't change. You talk about Demar Vesey, Gabriel Props, you talk about John Hoyt, you talk about Nat Turner, great revolutionists. You know what I'm saying? You talk about Huey Newton, we talk about Elvis Cleveland, we talk about Malcolm X, we talk about Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, all of the greats.
All of the greats, especially Noble Drew Ali. Especially Noble Drew Ali. And if it takes Pimpin' Ken to go on their high-level conversation, whatever, when these people been supposed to bring Moors up there to have series of classes going on. If you want to have some high-level conversations, but no, they're not going to do that. They're going to bring Pimpin' Ken up there to tell them about Noble Drew Ali and the Moors. All right, fine. Fine. We'll take it then. So if Pimpin' Ken knows, how come you don't know? What's your excuse that you don't know the truth about your nationality and birthrights? Pimp knows. He knows, and you don't know? Then you're looking at Moors like we don't know what we're talking about. If Pimpin' Ken knows what's going on, then how come you don't know? If 19 Keys knows what's going on, how come you don't know? How come everybody's quoting Noble Drew Ali and all that stuff, and we're still sitting here waiting for these people to proclaim their nationality and stop playing Negro black colored games? You still playing Negro black colored games? Still? Okay, no problem. You keep playing your games. Those who know, like your guys who know that they're not saying that they're Moors, but they know about Noble Drew Ali and all that though. They know everything about Noble Drew Ali, but they're not Moors though. They're into you black people and black Asiatics and all other types of dumb stuff. And all these people know. All of them. They're letting you play yourself. They're allowing you to play yourself. Because there's no reason that you're going to rep for some 19 keys and then he has Pimpin' Ken on there and all that stuff. And then they're talking about Moors and Noble Drew Ali and Know Thyself and Higher Self and Lower Self and all that stuff. And you're still not taking the Moorish thing serious? You're still playing around? There's most definitely a hex on you people playing games. That your favorite whoever's are telling you about the Moors and you're still sitting around playing games. Right? As if they know, as if they have to say we're Moors or something to prove the point. Oh, we know man knows not by being told and all that. You could play all that BS now. You could quote Noble Drew Ali now. Man knows not by being told. Yeah, all of a sudden, you're right. Man knows by being told, especially if somebody with experience told him. Don't tell me that applies to everybody. No, it doesn't. Because sometimes you have to be told. So if your boy is telling you, your boy is telling you? All right. Keep effing around.
Talk about who been Muslim. I ain't no Muslim. He didn't Muslim. He was Muslim. Talk about the river. The Muslim game. What they are? The Moors? The black the Moors, the black Moors. What the f they called? The Moors High Temple. No, what you want me. They would try to get me going. I was liking a lot of this shit, but that's just not me.
He burning the money right now.
I just know I can't do. You want to eat that pork? I want to eat. I'm not finna slave myself and not eat for days and not do this and that and that. How you gonna put up something you don't eat? Talk about who been Muslim. I ain't no Muslim. He didn't Muslim. He was Muslim.
I ain't no Muslim. You're a Muslim. Stop it. He's off the rocker. So we know he means Muslim. Even though he said Muslim, we know that that's his, the other side, the nuts side, doing madness, talking crazy. That's that side. Right? The conscious side of him knows that when he says Muslim, he's talking about Moors. He's not talking about a religion. The conscious side of him. The side of him that you sit down with him off the stuff and you have a conversation and all that stuff, you'll know that he studied some stuff. You'll know that he studied in his own, knew himself, went and studied wherever it was, whether it was jail, whether it was the madhouse, wherever it was. He knows. If you know about Noble Drew Ali, that they're studying. Only people who study bring up Noble Drew Ali like that with conviction. Oh yeah, Noble Drew Ali, Moor Science Temple. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about when we say Muslims. We're talking about some Arab stuff over there. That's not what we're talking about when we say Muslim. Remember, that's his conscious side. The side that you guys get when you watch the stuff and all that stuff, the big dummy stuff, not that side of him. Because he has personalities and all that stuff. They're multiple. You watch 4 minutes of him and about eight different entities going to talk to you about something. So one of his sides knows what's up. If he's going to put it like that. This is what he means. Because he already knows the other guy's misconception about Muslim. And he's schooling him that, no, not Muslim, the religion, Muslim, the Moors. Moor Science Temple, Noble Drew Ali. But nah, that's too much. That's too much still. That's too much still. That's still too much. So no problem. It's all right. We'll get to our questions. Honors. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Welcome. Welcome. Canaanland Moors Q&A Wednesday. Q&A Wednesday, where you can email your questions and you'll get some answers. The best that we can do, you know. I don't know it all, but I know something. So we'll see where we get today. Honors to all the Moors in the chat. Honors to Noble Drew Ali for his great, monumentous works. Honors to Noble Drew Ali. I know they're getting tore up right now. They're getting tore up crazy. They're getting tore up crazy. Honors to all the Moors. Get to our list. Islam. Drew Ali gave us divine constitution. Why did he give us additional laws? Let's just get it. So let's get it. Let's see if I can find this. So we all know Drew Ali brought us divine constitution and bylaws. And then at the back of the 101s, in the back of the 101s, there's another divine constitution and bylaws that's additional laws to the first 7. So as you go through, there's going to be some obvious ones. Right? Because remember, all the actions that Noble Drew Ali took were to protect the movement, because it's Moorish Americans' birthright. And he knew without that, we have nothing as far as the organizational structure, right? So and then don't forget, then at the back of the 101, you have the R authority that Moors will use as the Declaration of Independence to the nations of the world, that the Moorish Americans are here. And we are a nation. We had our convention, we had our costume ball, we have our manufacturing companies, our community center, we have our temple that we go to every Friday for our meetings. We got our school at the temple every Sunday for the children. And Things were on the up and up. So this is the additional laws. And again, when where'd this thing go? When we're reading these, as we're going through them, it's going to be very obvious to you why there's additional laws. It's going to bring to your attention that something happened. Something happened. 1927, 28, 29, some stuff was going on, right? Oh yeah, let me get this up for you more. And so the additional laws. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses, each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. And so that's Act 1. So there's individuals that are around while Noble Drew Ali's around, that are going against what Noble Drew Ali had put forth for the Moors. Any former officer that violates these laws, any former officer, so they're obviously in an office already. The office that they might be presenting themselves as might not be their official office, because they were already starting to try to take over. They just needed him out the way so they could start calling themselves Noble Drew Ali, because they already had thousands in their temple that were given whatever finance. So all they have to do is not send the financing. Right? So and then remember, in Act 1, he's talking about grand sheikhs, governors, and heads of all temples, all businesses. So he's talking to the adept people. He's not talking to the members. He's talking to the adepts, the heads, the governors. But of course, that's where the sellout's going to be, right? It's not going to be by the minions. It's going to be somebody who's right next to the main man. Like Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meeting and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first cause, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go to your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift a nation. So obviously these people are stealing the finance. And then when they come to the temple now, they're standing around as if they don't have stuff to do. But clearly they have nothing to do, because their whole point was trying to get Noble Drew Ali's temple to fall to the wayside so that they can take charge with whatever BS it is that they want to do, whether they were sent, whether they had the spirit of the lower self and just wanted to cause issues. But with these writings, because remember, these are additional laws. And Juali said, law, you got to follow the laws of the government. This said government. And laws, and you know what certain people are talking about is law. You know those aren't laws, right? You know, there's acts, ordinances, and statutes and all that. You know that's not law. You know, law has to come from the indigenous people. And you know, Noble Juali, he's indigenous. And Moorish Americans are indigenous. So the laws that we have as Moorish Americans, those are the laws. Not some foreigner thing. Remember, in order for these laws to apply to you, you got to have a nationality. And then the people with the nationality are thinking that the ones who are in the seats of power now are there for their salvation. When those are the same traitors. Which is why there's 18 grand bodies and all that. And honors to the honorable. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. So what is he going to ask him for finance again? Because these people were robbing the treasury while he was alive. In his face. In his face. So he's putting a plea out to the people. He's putting out to the people. Hey, this is your movement. These heads of whoever, I bet you they're not reading the letters to be read every meeting. That alone should be a sign. So in order for me to save you, we have to stifle them by you giving all your finance to me. You go to the bank, you subscribe to how much ever you could get. Because these people are robbing the treasury. And we have to balance the books for what they rob. And of course, you know, everybody's going to be giving finance to the prophet. Why wouldn't they? That's why they have that oral statement of the European that came up and said, hey, where's that man or whatever like that? He saved me so much money because I listened to him. Stock market crashed and I saved everything that I had. Where's this man? He's died. He died. He's no longer with us. And these are the same murderers. These are the same people who murdered him. Telling people that he left us and all this BS. When they murdered him. Because of his fame and nobility. And these people had the $ eyes. Sold this whole stuff out. Act 4. All members, while up making public speeches, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Right? Again, laying down the law. Right? The bounds of righteousness. Making sure there's a righteousness border. Certain stuff can't pass. Nothing foreign to righteousness shall enter. Remember at the time, they're doing everything that they can to cause confusion. They're doing everything that they can to make it seem as if Noble Drew Ali wasn't on point with what he had presented. They didn't want to play the background. They saw the fame and nobility and wanted that. They saw the fame and nobility and said, forget Noble Drew Ali. We're going to be the man. Get him out the way. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so. Because out of your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. And then going back to the cover of the 101 with Noble Drew Ali holding humanity in his arms. And he saved humanity from the cares of the world. And the Sunday school is humanity, where the guiders of the nation are going to come from. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel, and not partial, part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, black folks, colored people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. So Act 6 remains the same. And then Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel, not partial, parcel, of all uplifting acts of the Moor Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moor Science Temple of America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his father God Allah. So the additional laws was some extra kicks. Right? When you grab them by the arm and you kick them, right? Now some extra kicks for the ones who thought they got away with something. Because he had to know, even in the oral statements, it's talking about poison being in his food and all that. So while he was around, they wanted to get him out the way. And if you're finding poison in your food, then at that point you already know it's inevitable. Right? Because if they're that close to get it in your food, then everybody pretty much is a sellout, pretty much. You know, and then again, you go back to the letters to be read every meeting, and you talk about few faithful Moors and all that, and increase your faithfulness, and he's directing that. He's directing that. You know, it's BS what they tried to bury this, so it's not known to the masses who know what Drew Ali is, what he really did, setting up the Moor Science Temple. You know, giving us a flag. You know, but it was really for us now. It really wasn't for those back then. They weren't ready for this. Right? They weren't ready for this. So if you need more, just send a question again. Next question. Islam. In the 101 question, Juali said, Negro is a West African river. I was researching and didn't find the river. So you're still looking at continents. That's what the problem is. So if you put the continents together and then look up Negro River, you would see that as the Brazil. It's in the Amazon. Because the Amazon's going to fit right in that little cut on Alkebulan. Remember, that's Alkebulan. Africa's over here. Alkebulan's there. Africa's over here. So the idea look at Canaanland, for example. Majority of times, they know that's on both sides. Like they know it's here and it's there. And they're not confused that it's over here. But the amount of damage that they've done with us mentally, giving us wrong information, feeding us wrong stuff, right? Our whole view's warped. So we have Noble Drew Ali bringing up Amexem, the land of our forefathers and all that, and he's making these connections to over there and over here for the actual unlocking to happen. You have to look at everything with this no continents perspective for it to fully, from the Moabites to Punt and Sheba traveling for whatever, and she didn't use any boats or anything like that. Where's she going? Where you going? That west, no water, right? So because the actual Negro River is it actually has black water for real. Like the Negro River really has black water, but it's the Amazon. And then the Africa's over here. There's a Amexem. Juali said Amexem. Juali saying Atlantis. Moroccan Empire. he's not talking about continents. It's not about continents. It's one landmass. We're the first people everywhere. Everywhere you go, we're there. How's that? Just because it's of one landmass. So doing the because that's what happens. You're gonna take the 101s, you're gonna go research it, and then there's gonna be a discrepancy. And then the discrepancy isn't going to be thought about as being from self. You're going to be looking over there. What's wrong with the information? What's not looking at? Oh, maybe I'm looking at this stuff wrong, which is why the math teacher made the analogy of doing some problem and numbers are missing. And they're giving you the answer that you should get if the numbers weren't missing, but there's stuff missing and you can't figure out what's missing. So the actual river is a Negro. And so he's stressing the point again that it's not a people, it's a river. You can't be Negro. This is 1920s. That you have to deal with them on common sense. If you say Negro in the 1920s, that actually means river. That doesn't mean people. It's a river that has black water. So that's called Negro. Because Negro is black, right? That Negro is black, isn't it? So then now you're going through them again now, but with that different mindset. That you're not looking at continents. It's one. And things should start opening up more than they already are. Because a lot of people, they don't have the guts to question Noble Drew Ali's stuff in order to prove it right. Noble Drew Ali said it, so we're just gonna go with it. They're not gonna fact check it. So it's good that you're checking to see. And I know there's certain ones that 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 there's tampering. Partial versus parcel and stuff like that. In all the literature, some things saying by the prophet, and then some things not even saying that it was him or not. So there's going to be things that you find, but you know what I mean. Drew Ali said, "Think." So hey, whatever you find, think, and guarantee you'll figure it out. Guarantee you'll figure it out. Islam. How can we achieve our goals or success without being a slave to finance via jobs, government assistance, etc.? Is this even possible in this modern day society? Always remember that our people have always been playing catch up. We've all been playing catch up. Like we always seem to be steps behind others. And this is due to the whole nationality idea. So we were supposed to be born into families that let's say have the good life, like all of us. Because if we were doing what Noble Drew Ali did, we wouldn't be on here trying to convince people about their Moors and all that. Right? This is the so the things that we're looking for today that we want are the things that we should have inherited. It's the things that we should have been inherited. So since that's not there to inherit, the energy has to now shift to what is this really about? Right. So we realize that when we say Noble Drew Ali brought us everything it takes to save a nation, that was for real. Because there's the Koran chapter when he's teaching about the people mad about toiling and them getting the lesson that man should be happiest when he's toiling, because you're doing the service for others. Whatever it is that you're doing that you got to do, you're not doing that for yourself only. Like we didn't just do free ball camp for ourselves to promote ourselves. That's not what that's for. It's to serve others. Drew Ali didn't found Moor Science Temple of America for himself, for him to be the prophet Noble Drew Ali and for people to look at him like whatever. No. He's got humanity in his arms on the stuff, servicing others. So I found out through not listening to what was said, right? So we all come from the era of making easy finance, right? And it was easy, but you never saved anything, right? So counting up, things would have been all right now, saving everything, opposed to blowing it on whatever. Right? Things would have been all right now. We've been sitting back because we'd have listened to the school counselor, whoever, we'd listen to parents, we'd listen to aunt, whoever, we'd listen to whatever. Say, hey, you know what? Just put 50 in an account while you're 14. Your first job, just put 50 in an account and don't touch it. You start working? Oh yeah, just put 50 in an account. What are you talking about 50 in an account? What is 50 in an account? 50 times. I'm only gonna have whatever with, right? Not seeing the extended goal. So because we're coming in a deficit, right, into the consciousness, right? We're in Negro black colored status, and we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, and then we find out about this information, and then we start studying this information, and we start seeing how in conflict our true being is to the society, because this stuff is messed up. $3,000 a month for a 1-bedroom and all that stuff. This stuff is crazy. But that's happening because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. So I would look at the achievement of the goals being the inspiration to do whatever it is that you have to do. Right? So whatever it is that you have to do, slave, government assistance, whatever, deal with reality. If you have to have a job right now, because you just have to, that's just what it is, then that's what it is. That doesn't stop you from being a Moor. That doesn't stop you from studying, knowing who you are. That doesn't stop you from, right? You're just going to have to prioritize different. You have to change some stuff around. You might have to not, have an ounce. You might have to cut it down to a half quarter. You're going to have to not have the favorite, whatever it is that you like. You're going to have to maneuver some things different because this is just where it's at. Right? This is where we found ourselves. You came to your senses and you're in shit up to your neck. You went to bed, you woke up, it was all a dream, you're up to your neck in shit. So the first thing is try to get out the shit, right? They're not gonna be chilling in here. So we're figuring ourselves out of it. And it's gonna be, many different ways for many different individuals. Talk about as far as once you get into the realm that we're Moors, and knowing that you're Moors, but you still have to live in this society. They say, find a way or make one. Right? That's where we're at. You're up to your neck in it. So what are you going to do to get at least out the stuff? You can wash off after. Let's try to get out of it first. Now, there was I think he was Jewish. There was a Jew boy. There was a Jew boy in college. And he knew he was Jew, but thought he wanted to be the black guy or whatever. Right? And he's 20-something. Got his own, because my parents or whatever, so I just have a let's say condo, right? 2-3 different rides that he could pull up in. And getting student loans and all that stuff. Has the finance and getting student loans on top of having the finance already and getting student loans. Right? Back then, looking at it like, the white privilege or the, whatever, that it was a standard. Those are some of the most tight pocket people ever. They have finance and they're getting student loans. There's people who couldn't get There's people who couldn't get, that needed it. They couldn't get, and then these people are getting it. Like, saying all that to say, some people's situations are set up for them. Ours should have been like that too. But, you know, with the Negro black colored mindset of our people, why would it? Right? You know, looking at it with the Moorish mind, you could see now why it is how it is. Right? So you just tighten up them boots and you do what you got to do. Right? You do what you got to do. Just make sure that you're not saying you're more to try to seek some benefit or whatever like that, because then that'll make you lose your family and lose your children and lose everything else because you're playing around with this. So make sure that you know that you're coming into it knowing that you're not in this to get some benefit. You're in this to learn about who it is that you are. You're not in this to not pay taxes. You're not in this so I don't have to have a license. You're not in this because you don't got to pay some toll, or I don't want to pay some bus fare. That's just so I'm a Moor because this is my bus. Right? You want to all old business, leave it as it is. All new business, do it in your free national name. All old business is going to keep doing exactly what old business is doing. These two things are going to be running parallel. You're going to step over onto the side where you want to do things de jour. But you're only doing that if what you're doing is something new. If it's old, you just have this new mindset with the old ways, which should, you know, assist you in correcting the old ways so that you could bring about some balance. Right? So again, let the goals be the inspiration. If the stuff sucks that you have to do, let the fact that you want to whatever be the inspiration to do this BS that you don't want to do. Right? So you can get through it. You know, it's like doing time. You know, you find something to get your attention, so you don't let the time do you. Right? So the different avenues that we have to use to make it today, use them all. Especially with this new mindset of knowing who we are now. Especially with this mindset now. Take full advantage. Right? Take full advantage of taking this new mindset and applying it to the old ways to correct the old ways. Right? And then also remembering too that in order to have these things manifest, these goals, these aspirations manifest, there has to be space for that. So are you decluttering? Are you decluttering your mind? Are you decluttering your heart? Are you decluttering your living space? Because if there's no space, for the roots, the plant's gonna be stunted. We started in a deficit. That's the first fact you have to accept, and then once you accept that, then dealing with the other stuff will be easier. Right. Because I realized that, you know, I'm not the lifting cement bags and all that stuff for a job, right? That wouldn't be my type of toil. You know, some people, the only toil is you know, cutting somebody open and seeing the blood and all that stuff, and that's the toil that they want. You know, but do your best to try to find the one that doesn't feel like toil. You know, because again, they're gonna play their little games with you, right? Their little UCC games and all that type of stuff. Have you think about, you know, there's no money and all this, right? You know, but they're asking you for finance for stuff, right? They're asking you to pay for stuff, but they're telling you to discharge stuff, but you should pay. You know, and then they're doing that because they realize the same stuff that you realize about having a slave and all that stuff. Well, might as well rape my people. Might as well rape my people. 600 for some papers. And if I get 5 people, give me 600 a month, I'm good. I'm gonna get more than that a month. Because everybody thinks they could buy their nationality because everybody's going through the same BS and they're trying to pay their way out of it. And you can't pay your way out of this BS right here. You got to think your way out. The only way it's going to work. The only way. So again, if you need more, if you need more than that, just send another email. You know, let's get the next ones. Islam. If Noble Drew Ali is a thought of Allah manifested in flesh, what divine archetype does he embody, and how does that shape our own spiritual blueprint? Well, other than a representative of the divine feminine, he also is the prophet. You heard about prophets in the past and all that stuff, right? Different cultures, you heard them talk about prophets, right? All right, so how they look at their prophet, that's what Noble Drew Ali is to these people in the Americas, classified as Negro, black, colored. And how that shapes our spiritual blueprint is that he's the template. He's the vision before the blueprint. He's the eureka moment before the guy said, here's the blueprint of the manifestation of what we're trying to build. That's why he said, follow him. He said, imitate him. Because he already figured the game out, especially spiritually. It's a breakfast fight, he told him. Yeah, it's a breakfast fight because he's fighting from the soul plane. Physical ain't got nothing on that. So a prophet is a thought of Allah. That prophet is an archetype. Right? Christ. All these different, whether it's if you go into the Yoruba and you talk about all the Orishas, that's theirs, their versions. And then everybody's prophet would be one of those. You go through all the cultures, and all the cultures' prophet is going to be one of the Orishas. As we go more and more into Juali's literature and really take in what it is that he was presenting, because remember, he got all these things from different sources. He went to different spots and got things, put it all together and said, this is what it's going to take for our people to be saved. It's gonna lead you to salvation, guaranteed. I think it's because the literature is small, so the people they take it for granted because it's short, it's little. The pages are few, but the Quran is heavy. The Quran is heavy. There's a lot there. What is the metaphysical significance of the phrase, man is not the body nor the soul, he is a spirit and part of Allah? So the idea that people have that Allah is outside themselves, the supreme being is outside themselves, right? That idea that people have, that they're the flesh, they don't see themselves in connection with that thing outside. They know that it created them, but they don't see the connection. Right? The connection's there. The people themselves don't see it because they keep looking at it as an external thing. So leading us from looking at ourselves as the physical to looking at ourselves as one with Allah, then you could see all the different compartments that make you up and know what's you and what's not you. So as soon as you get that thought, let me put on some child porn, you know that that's not you. That's something trying to infiltrate. Because that shouldn't even be in the thought to have to do that. That's something external. But you have to be open for that to even be able to enter. Right? In order for the being to know themselves, they have to be one with the Creator. You can't be absent from the Creator and know yourself. So that's what the connection that Juali's making. That If you look at yourself as the body, you're done. You look at yourself as the soul, you're done. You look at yourself as the mind, you're done. You look at yourself as one with Allah. If you're one with Allah, then you're going to be in harmony with all those other things. Because when Allah created all that stuff, right? Stuff came about by its own. All those things are part of the creation. How does the circle 7 symbol encode the journey from carnal man to divine man, and what initiations must one pass through to embody it fully? Well, I wouldn't even look at it as from carnal man, because the 7, that's it's not like it's 1 to 7 is in the 4 quadrants. 7 is in the 4 quadrants. That 7 is that perfected being that lined up their chakras. And the 4 quadrants are the earth plane in any direction that they're going to go. And so the actual 7 is the code. That's the message. The initiations are going through the 7, from the lower self to the higher self. You're gonna rise. You're going from Negro black colored, the carnal, to Moor, the higher self. The higher self is the 7. So once you get to the 7, you already went through all the initiations. Going back again to which is why you're supposed to be studying that, because that's what's gonna get you to the 7. The carnal man is the Negro black colored. The divine man is the Moor. On the journey from Negro black colored to the divine man, the journey, you're going to have the obstacles and the whatever. Those are the initiations. That once you conquer, right, going back again in the Koran, Jesus in the wilderness having to conquer the thought forms and all that stuff, all that is the initiations that you're only going to go through by experiencing this. This is not about talking about. This is about experiencing. This is not about, the journey is from the carnal man to the journey is you actually walking the path. You actually experiencing it is the journey, not somebody saying, to get over there, well, you go there and hang a right and then hang a left, and then you think that's the journey. No, the journey is now taking the walk for yourself, so you can experience it to know what it is. Mm-hmm. So there's Drawley gave us excerpts from other works. When you check the original text where Noble Drawley got some of the Moorish Quran from, there's way more stuff that he could have put in there. Why did he just take that? Like Unto Thee I Grant and Aquarian Gospel are good reads. It's not a bad read. But he didn't use everything. He selected things. That means he was looking at us from some totally different level than the average individual is looking at his people. So the messages, the lessons were tailored. Tailored. Right? Those Circle 7 lessons are for us. They're tailored for us. Right? You can still put your hand above your head in your monkey suit and all that. Tailored. In what way does the Moorish Holy Koran restore the lost memory of Asiatic nations? And how is that memory activated through ritual and study? The Moorish Quran invokes memory of our ancient times based on the places that are mentioned, the activities that are happening, and our relation or our connection to those activities real time in our time. In him, having, for example, end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies, the last chapter, right, where he's pretty much just giving it back. He's giving everything. There's at the end of that, you should be whole. You should be the 7. Right? Once you're there, the memory's back. Now it's picking up where you left off. And the study is what's going to create the rituals. The rituals aren't first. The studying is how you're going to get the rituals. Because the studying, again, is going to tap you into your ancient foremothers and forefathers' mindset, and that's going to be inspiring you to do the Moorish greatness that you're supposed to be doing for the nation. You have your own Moorish great, not for your selfish self, right? Not the stuff that you want to do and can't do and all that stuff. Right? The things for the nation, the things that the nation needs, that you're expert in, that you doing that is going to assist the nation. Right? Studying is going to get you to that point. That's why studying, that's why we play the pimp and Ken. He knows study. Because Noble Drew Ali said, study, study, study. Know thyself. That's the only way the lost memory is gonna come back, is through the studying. And then the activity after the study or the application of the knowledge acquired is the ritual. Whatever that activity is. Right? Once it's for the nation, then you're doing your part. It's for yourself, then that's just for yourself. You ain't doing nothing impressive. In what way does the Moorish what is the esoteric meaning behind Friday being holy day, formed in flesh and departed from flesh, and how does this mirror the cycle of divine manifestation? Okay, so Friday being the holy day. All right, we were talking about this at the temple on Sunday. Right. So one of the Moors put it like this, that Sunday is the first day. Right? Sunday is the first day. So Sabbath is the last day. That's the day that you're supposed to rest. So the day before the rest would be the holy day. And then you start back on Sunday again as the first day. Right. The other side of it is Venus. Friday being Venus as far as, Friday, the day itself, being Venus. And as man evolved, right? So in order to get to Venus, in order to get Venus, you have to get the 5 points. Venus means nothing without it making the 5-point star in its procession. Right? So the forming in flesh and departing out of flesh is this movement. And then you have man, which is really woman, the 5-point star with the hands out and the legs spread as the 5-point star. Now the forming in flesh could happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because you were formed in flesh, right? And then you came through your mom in order to be flesh. And everybody could pick the name of the week, the day that they were born on, that they were formed in flesh on. And the as far as the manifestation, as far as the manifestation part of it, remember that the seven is also going back to the Elohim, who are the 7 eyes of Allah, who are the 7 days Elohim, right? Elohim, the creative spirits, everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. Elohims that's holy. That'll be a holy name. Michael, Raphael, going through the list. There's a holy name, and the holy name is a day. Then the day must be as holy as the name is. And then you talk to different Moors in different studies, like you start going into Kabbalah and all that stuff with regard to the days and the tree of life and all that stuff. And it's a whole another branch to lead you to where you're supposed to be. It's a lot. It's and again, this is why in the oral statements and all that, he's making reference to study the 101s. That's because it's deeper than what is on the surface. The four pages. Do you think this is it? You showed them a 101 questionnaire, and this is this is it. There's no more. How do the teachings of Noble Drew Ali align with the prophecies of other messengers, such as Jesus, Muhammad, and the Sibyls? And what does this reveal about the universal law of upliftment? Well, through all the prophets and the Sibyls, all they were about was upliftment. All they were about was showing man how to evolve to a higher being. So going back again to the question earlier, that Juali's point is to have man and Allah see themselves as one. That's his direction. You've debased yourself by thinking that you're something other than your ancient foremothers and forefathers. So we have to make you one with Allah again before we start doing anything else. Because then everything's going to be distorted. That's done. If you're not one with Allah first. And going through all the teachings of Noble Juali, you hear him talk about higher selves and lower selves. You go to teachings of Yeshua, that is, say Jesus, humanitarian. It's all there, and we. I think a lot of it is that because of the bombardment of so many other prophets and not Noble Juali, that there's doubt there, for the new ones who are trying to figure this thing out. There's doubt because they never heard of Noble Juali. They heard of Muhammad, they heard of Buddha, they heard of Confucius. They heard about them. They might not have went and read anything about them, but they at least heard about them. You mentioned Noble Juali to our people. Looking at you. And then also with regard to the prophecies of the other prophets, with regard to Noble Juali, every prophet said that greater ones are gonna come after me. They got told that. Yeah. A few more here. Let's see how much more we could get through. What rituals, affirmations, or scrolls can one create to embody the 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, not just as values, but as vibrational laws? Well, one ritual, you see how certain people have their little sigils, protection, whatever they're gonna call it. You could use 5-point stars for that, and then just put the LTP FJ on it. Right? Whether it's something written, written is always best. You know what I mean? Because you're actually putting your hands in it. You can create your own affirmations and just put the principles in it. You know, I am, and whatever you're gonna put, and then have those on you. Because remember, they're already vibrating on a certain frequency. You know, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those are already vibrating. You don't have to do anything to make them vibrate. Like, you know what love is when you feel that. You know what truth is when you experience it. You know, everyone's been in a moment that was just absolutely still, and it was just them and themselves to know what that peace is. Right, that's a frequency. You know, that's resonating. And once you tap into that resonance, you don't want to leave there. So a lot of it is really taking the science, taking the science of the Moors and activating it with your spirit. You know. Like when we came into metaphysics and we found out purple's protection, right? We had a ritual, the purple flame ritual, where you're when you get into the conveyance to go anywhere, you're engulfing yourself in purple flames, and it's supposed to protect you and keep you invisible to certain people, right? And it worked. It worked because we were cautious or whatever, but nothing happened after that. After putting that ritual in place, and every time that you didn't do the ritual, that's when some BS happened. Rush in or whatever like that, forget to do it, and then some crap. And immediately remember, oh, I didn't do the ritual, that's why. So the creating part is good. This is a good example, for example, of man knows not by being told. Right? Because you have to do the ritual. Right? You have to be the one to do the ritual. Right? The master there had some good ones. Shi Heng Yi, he has some good rituals, getting rid of energies and all that stuff in your house and all that. Yeah, he has some good ones. You know, and then again, we honor all true and divine prophets. So you might bump into a Buddhist or somebody that might put you on game. Put you on some game, make you activate your powers better. But you're holding the laws if you're living by the principles, because those principles are vibratory, very strong vibrations from those principles. They are the laws themselves. If Amexem is the divine name of Africa, what spiritual vibration does that name carry, and how does invoking it restore ancestral memory? The uttering of it is what restores the ancestral memory. Amexem, just like instead of saying Negro, black, colored, saying Moor, saying Moorish American, the true and divine name of our people. Just Amexem is true and divine name. True and divine name of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the ancient Canaanites. And all the people who descended from Amexem are connected to that. And then all these people are going to say that they're from Amexem. They're ancient whatever Amexem. Now they're not going to know. They're not going to know that that's one continent. So when you look up, to know certain things have too high a vibration that it's not effective. It just vibrates too high. Right. When you look at how easy it is, right, for him to say, how easy it is for them to say Africa instead of Al-Kebalan even. Al-Kebalan Al-Kebalan definitely has a higher spiritual vibration than Africa. Just in the utterance of it, you can feel that there's something more there. Say that we're Moorish American, we're Moors, and saying we're black. That's to say, the true and divine headwear of the Moors is the fez and turban. When you wear a baseball hat, you just feel normal. Feel like anybody else out here. Unless you're on a certain frequency to know that it's all a fez. Whatever that headwear is. Whatever it is that you wrap your head with, that's a turban. A t-shirt, tie a t-shirt, that's a turban. So all these different things have different levels of vibration. And just through speaking them, remember, word is God. If God's talking about a Amexem and all that stuff instead of Africa, you think the frequencies are going to be different? How do the dredging of the Nile and Niger rivers by the ancient pharaohs symbolize the flow of divine commerce, spiritual exchange, and legacy building? Well, you're answering that with the question. Because the purpose of doing that was for commerce. Divinely, it's us being able to have it right now. Because remember, because the water is knowledge, right? The water is knowledge. And when they talk about dredge the Nile, they talk about dredge the Nile. It's the water, which is the knowledge. And then the sharing of the knowledge is going to bring the enlightenment, which is the spiritual exchange. And of course, once you have it, you have to pass it on to the generations. Once you give it to the generations after you and they have it, then there's the legacy. You know? The legacy is that's what that's what Brown doesn't get. The legacy is everybody great did it on one team. Then jump around hunting for different stuff. They took their blows when they took their blows, and when their time came, they did it with that one team. That's how you build a legacy. So always look at, once they're talking about water, they're talking about knowledge. Once water is mentioned, knowledge, immediately. And then what's happening with the water is the next thing. Is it stagnant? Is it flowing? Is it going over a cliff as a waterfall? What's going on with this knowledge? And again, all that is just, when you talk about symbology, just use the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Land is in there. What's the river? What's the metaphysical meaning of river and all that is in there. What is the metaphysical meaning behind the Moabites receiving permission from the pharaohs to inhabit Northwest Africa? And how does the divine covenant, and how does that reflect divine covenant and sovereignty? Well, it represents sovereignty because they're getting their permission, they're getting the authority from the pharaohs who are ruling. So if the ruler says you could whatever, then you could whatever. If the ruler says your inhabitation and dominion is from here to here to here to here to over there to over there to over there, and because I say so, then that was just sovereignty, right, that the Moabites received. So they ran out of. Talk about why they get assisted, because they were the same family. They're the same family, same Nile River civilization. One family. And the Moabites receiving the permission is the authority for the Moabites to do whatever it is that they're going to do in their new inhabitation and dominion. Because everybody knows Pharaoh is the man. And they have all their statues and stuff like that in museums or whatever like that for you to know that they're the man. Right? Now, keep in mind, right, the historical reference point, thanks to George G.M. James, of the Moors being the custodians of the ancient Kemetic knowledge. So that's also where that story is going. The Bomites receiving the permission is that transfer. The Moabites receiving the permission is the ancient high priests of Anu, the Moors, making the Moors the custodians of the ancient knowledge that these people took and went up into Spain and Europe and all these different places, civilizing the planet. And clearly that's a reflection of the divine covenant, right? When your brother is in adversity, assist. The pharaohs were in adversity. Because they were in their wars and all that. And they took all the knowledge and gave it to the Moors. And now we have it. All the divine knowledge. So everybody should be here listening to what we're saying, right? But nah. You don't hear what we're saying. How do the holy instructions on obedience, truth, and duty, chapter 1 to 10, prepare the Moor to govern self, family, and temple in alignment with divine law? Well, again, as you go through, right? When we go to pull it up on here. Where did it go? There you go. Just pull up this. Oh. Say 1 to 10. Okay, so we'll go from there. That's right there. Index not working. All right. Just get the book. Sorry, y'all. No screen share for that. So, okay, so Elihu's lessons. Elihu's lessons is going to be for self, right? Ministry of death. Ring the alarm. Ministry of death is teaching you how to deal with the loss and keeping it absolutely simple, that you're selfish If you're talking about, where are they and you miss them and all that stuff, you're selfish, because they have great works to do outside of here. They have great works to do outside of here. Right? That's with the governing of self. Right? Chapter 5 with the carpenter's tools. Again, governing self, so that right? Chapter 7, the meaning of truth and salvation with the steps. All these are lessons that you're supposed to have, that you can teach to your family, that you can live in harmony, right? And be in alignment with divine everything, because you are studying the lessons, you are applying the lessons. It's not just some stuff that you're reading and that's it. You're actually putting these lessons into practice. Right? And once you start putting it into practice, that's how you get prepared. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And that's chapter 1. Without a foe. So you have to have a foe to test yourself. You have to have a foe. There has to be a battle, or you'll never know. As I say, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. What is the spiritual significance of the phrase, "There is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family"? And how does this challenge illusions of separation and restore divine identity? Negro, black, colored, etc. All those are statuses. And they're statuses that are dead, because they're not people. So there's something. We know that for sure they're not people. We talked earlier that Negro is a river. We know that colored is anything stained, painted, varnished, or dyed. Right? And we know black's adjective. So we know those aren't people. So the importance is seeing the higher lesson. And the higher lesson is that they're statuses. And these dead statuses are why they're not attached to the human family. Because the human family has in full life statuses. They don't have dead statuses. The human family, right? All the human family that have a nationality. Right? But because of the sorcery that they do on our people, they don't see that those brand names are what create the separation illusion that they're dealing with. Right? That they don't get that they're separating themselves from the human family by claiming these fictions as identity. And then they're mad at everybody for being racist and discriminating against them. Right. How do the laws given by Noble Drew Ali in chapter 48 serve as a blueprint for temple governance, and what rituals can be created to embody love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in daily life? So chapter 48, end of times and the fulfilling of the prophecies. So this is the point. Verse 5. That the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa, Amexem, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. There's still much wisdom to be learned. So the reality is you're supposed to be going and studying. And then when you study, so you like, what do I study next? You go study yourself. And again, once we take what Noble Drew Ali presented to us and we study it, it will teach us how to govern ourselves, because we can't govern ourselves and try to govern a temple. You can't govern yourself. You can't govern a nation. If you can't govern yourself, you can't govern your household. So it's really about self-governance, living by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in daily life, so that everything else that you do is going to be on the vibratory frequency of those principles. And bet yourself will just start governing. You don't even need anything. It'll take care of itself. Because that's the power of truth. Just like Pimpin' Ken said, that falsehood stole truth's clothes. So truth said, I'm just going to be the naked truth then. If you can't accept that, then it's going to be a long road. How does the act of studying and living the Moorish Holy Quran serve as a metaphysical ladder from the lower self to the higher self? So we can look at all the chapters as the ladder steps. 48 steps on this ladder. Right? And you start at step 1. And you master step 1. Right? You're not just like the pit bull. No, you're step 1, master 1. 2, master 2. Until you get to 48. And then once you're through it, now you can go through and start delving deeper. You know, like you want to go through it on some succession first before you start going in and pulling stuff out, because you're gonna miss stuff that's coming later, letting you know. Because sometimes you read a chapter and you think, oh wow, and then you read the chapter after that and you realize, oh damn, hold on a second, I gotta get to the next one, because this thing is accelerating. You know, it's a great read. It is not to be taken lightly, because you saw these 60 pages or whatever, you think, oh, this is it. This is nothing. It's intense when you really take it in. You know, once you get over once you get over the Shakespeare stuff and all that, and you start knowing what it is that you're reading, yep, it's going to activate. What is the divine responsibility of Moorish Americans in this era to serve as healers, builders, and restorers of the ancient covenant? Yeah, the responsibility is don't stop. The responsibility is increase your faithfulness in your practices. Whatever your practices are that you've been doing that works, you keep doing that stuff. And matter of fact, do it stronger than you were doing it before. Right? Because you definitely are going to reap the benefits. You're definitely going to reap the benefits once you take it that serious. And once you take it that serious, that it's not just, you know, you're lighting some incense because, you know, you just fried some fish or something like that. You know, that is an ancient practice. Incense is ancient. Sage is ancient. You know, so these things that you're doing, right? All these Moors who are in their trade. Their trade and you had to put up a wall, and they say, oh, could you put an ark in that and all that stuff? You're the man. Who else they gonna go to? The Moor to build their stuff. Why would they go to somebody else to build their stuff if the Moors are the builders? You know? So whatever you've been doing to assist people in their healing, you know? You've been looking into their eyes and all that stuff and telling them about their self. You helping these people break generational curses just through conversation, because we're Moors and we're already vibrating on a whole different frequency. We're in a whole different realm, even on the earth plane. You keep doing that good work, that uplifting work, you know, and don't be discouraged. Don't let anybody discourage you, especially if you know the stuff works. You know, because you've been doing this. You've been using yoga to heal people. You've been doing Reiki. All these are ancient practices. And you have a divine responsibility to honor your foremothers and forefathers and go back to their mindset so we can be as they were, the gods of this realm. You know, some of us are lacking though. And those are the ones that, you know, we're out here to try to get. Those lacking ones. So all the Moors out there doing your works for the nation. Carry on with doing your works for the nation. It's needed. Right? It's needed. And it's serving a purpose. Don't think, you know, what you're doing is doing nothing. You know, once you're not package selling our people crazy, selling them dreams and all that, your work is definitely needed. Supreme honors to all the Moors worldwide. Supreme honors. No trolls tonight. That's good. Honors to all the Moors in the chat. See, you didn't have to put anybody under manners today. Only the diehards today. Honors to you. Honors to all the Moors. Love and peace. Supreme honors to our Prophet Noble Juali. Islam to all Moors worldwide.